much what the festival is about. It's 4 days of celebrating dance and culture, music and art. What festival goers can experience is a melting pot of different people from different parts of the continent. We have people traveling from Ethiopia, Tanzania, Kenya, Rwanda, Southern Africa, and then thousands of tourists from other parts of the world. And it's a place where, for those 4 days, everyone is equal and everyone is there just to celebrate and dance.
Black and white, just interacting and having fun.
Definitely.
Now, in the past, the Nyege Nyege Festival quoted funds from around the world. I understand last year 8,000 people showed up. How did you manage to pull it off? Because it's now a major tourist attraction.
Yeah.
How did you manage to pull this off?
I mean, we have a lot of support from the local Njeru community and in Jinja. Our sponsors have also been very supportive over the years, and the festival is based on a lot of volunteers and musicians who come together, and some of them perform for not their normal fees, for lower fees than normal. It's a collective effort, and like most festivals, they happen when a lot of people come together and hold hands and try their best.
Well, some people think confining 8,000 people in a small space could cause a little bit of trouble. 8,000 people in a very tiny space. What do you make of that?
I think traditionally around the world, when you have the introduction of these multi-day music festivals where people are dancing and staying up for several days, and then also sleeping on site in tents, it can sometimes cause a little bit of bewilderment.
In the wee hours.
In the wee hours, a little bit of bewilderment, a little bit of confusion. What is happening here? Why are people mixing together for so long, for so many hours? There's obviously, it's a big party. There's obviously drinking going on as well, so it can cause a bit of reservations.
Yes.
I think last year the event was televised live on air. There was, the event was fully transparent in the eyes of ministries, given some of the reservations last year, and the event passed with flying colors once everyone saw that everything is in good faith.
Right.
There is no challenge to some of the moral concerns that were expressed, and that in fact it's something very positive for the country and for the region as a whole.
You say it's something very positive for the country and for the region as a whole. Are you in a position to estimate the tourism value that the Nyege Nyege Festival does have on an annual basis to Uganda?
I mean, a clear multiplier effect possibly is not there, but by any indication, if we were to take that all the rooms in Ginger are fully booked over those 4 days, and that there's about 1,500 people flying into the country for the event as well, and then there's the regional tourism, so there's about 2,000 Kenyans that are coming in, and from Rwanda as well, and from Tanzania increasingly so. We feel that the overall impact might be into the millions of dollars.
Okay.
Indeed. Well, last year the ethics minister, Mr. Simon Lokodo, threatened to ban the festival, insisting that the Nyege Nyege Festival was a haven for immorality. Have you addressed these concerns?
I mean, the concerns were firstly over-exaggerated,
right?
Overblown. There was a lot of rumors circulating.
So you can demystify those rumors.
Yeah. So there was an element of demystification by. It was good that these issues came to the forefront, so they could be cleared once and for all, because they were simmering already years before. Yeah,
let's debunk those rumors because they affect the festival, and indeed I want to see more people, like 10,000, 20,000.
Sure.
So go ahead. How do you plan to address Lokodo's concerns?
we feel that those concerns were already addressed last year. Okay. So we had to meet a lot of conditions. The event had to be very transparent. There was access to officials from his ministry. They were there for several days. They investigated the festival, and at the very end, they found that there was not much to be worried about, yes, or at least not along the rumors that they that were circulating. So I think it's a chapter that has been closed.
It is?
Yeah.
All right.
That is awesome news for your fans.
Of course, yeah. It's great. The festival was, this year was given the go-ahead.
Right.
And we have, this year we've partnered with the Ministry of Tourism.
Right.
So there's an official government ministry that is also supporting the event. So it's been quite a turnaround from being threatened to be shut down by one ministry to being supported now by another.
All right. Still sticking to the same conversation, Nyege Nyege, that name means different things in different communities.
Right.
And the minister did have a problem just because of that name and the sexual connotation it has to it. Do you think, as the organizers of the festival, do you think it will come to a point whereby maybe you will relook changing the name to something else?
Funnily enough, if a few years ago you typed in Google Nyege Nyege, you would get a very different result from what you get now.
Right.
So you'd get a certain specific set of images, and now if you type it, so you get images of the festival and international press and local press about the festival emerging. So in one way the word is almost changing because of the festival, and then as we all know in East Africa, words have many multiple meanings, and that word in specific also happens to have many multiple meanings.
Right.
But the meaning that is behind the festival is one that is rooted in the Ugandan language, and we feel that it should be there to stay.
All right.
The biggest beneficiary of the Nyege Nyege festival has been the tourism sector in Jinja. What major benefits can we expect in this budding city going forward?
Yeah, I mean, of course, for the tourism sector, for the hoteling sector, it's been very positive.
Right.
For the local Njeru community, it's creating, over 1,000 jobs.
Indeed.
Every year, we also open up the festival to the local community, to some of the craft vendors and small food stalls for free. To support the community there, and on the other hand, while the festival is only one small aspect of what Nyege Nyege does, it has year-round community studios. We tour around 25 Ugandan artists globally around the world.
Awesome.
We had over 100 dates, ranging from the US to Japan, China, and Europe. So yeah, this is, the festival has been committed to supporting arts and culture in the region for the last 5 years, and the festival is only one part of that.
All right.
It also runs 2 record labels,
Right.
which have now become internationally acclaimed as 2 of the most interesting African music labels globally. So yeah, it's part of a 360 cultural incubator, and the festival is just one aspect of that.
All right. Let's, I think, delve into the business conversation with regards to the festival. I'm sure a majority want to know what's the business concept behind this particular festival. And I'll ask you just quick questions with regards to the same. So what does it take for me to just come in as a, someone who wants to have fun? What does it take? Do I have to pay anything? Or for me to get accommodation, what does that mean for me?
So the festival is very expensive to put on, and of course it can only survive by having people pay to enter. So yeah, there's an entrance fee. We try to keep it as low as possible to make it as accessible to a wider cross-section of Ugandan society as possible. So yeah, it's you can, if you had bought tickets earlier on, they would have been cheaper, and as you get closer to the event, they're more expensive. Currently they're at 150,000 shillings for the 4 days.
And that's just for the entry?
That's for the entry.
So you have to cater for accommodation? So
you can either choose to be accommodated outside in Jinja City, or you can camp on site. If you bring your own tent, you can camp for 30,000 shillings for the entire 5 days. Or you can rent a tent for a 1-person tent for 100,000 shillings, or a 2-person tent for 120,000 shillings.
All right. So if I'm a business person and want to come and showcase my products and services, what does that mean for me cost-wise?
So there's a vending department. Food stalls go for 4 million for the 4 days, and for craft it's a little bit different because we try and attract as many interesting young artisans as possible. So there's a package at 400k for the 4 days. I think as of now all vending packages have been sold out at the festival.
Sold out?
Yeah.
Good news.
That is awesome.
All
Wow.
right.
So how do you intend to continue growing the festival?
So yeah, the festival, like we mentioned, is one part of our efforts as Nyege Nyege to be growing the cultural sector here in the region. We're seeing, it's a very young country, as we know. There's immense amount of talent. So on the one side, musically, we're getting more and more interest from international festival bookers. The festival attracts over 40 international bookers that come to Nyege Nyege now to find exciting acts to book for their festivals back in Europe and North America. So on the one hand, it's become a very important showcase festival on the continent, showcasing interesting music. We plan to grow. The festival has been tripling in size for every edition. This year we're trying to restrain the numbers a little bit and restrain the growth.
Why is that?
Because it's getting increasingly challenging with the production. It's essentially Nyege Nyege becomes the second biggest city between Jinja and Kampala over those 4 days.
Yes.
So it's a city that's being born.
Indeed. So, as the owners of this major franchise, do you plan to expand it to other parts of the country, perhaps maybe on different dates?
Yes, certainly. I think Nyege Nyege has now become a global brand. There's over 50 also international journalists coming, the New York Times, BBC. They're all traveling into Jinja in the coming days to also cover the event. There's awareness of it across the continent. There's definitely going to be the one flagship event every year here in the country, and for now it's still in Jinja. We'll see, maybe one day if we need a larger location, we'll consider moving it, and there's definitely plans to move it to also other parts of the continent.
All right. Let's go back to the business aspect of things, and I'm sure we have many upcoming artists as well who would like to be part and parcel of this. So what actually does happen when an artist comes on board and performs at Nyege Nyege Festival, or their music is showcased, so to speak? Is it for them to pay the organizers, or the organizers pay the artists? What's the agreement like?
No, we cover all costs for artists that come to perform at the
That is also
covering all costs, meaning is it accommodation?
It's accommodation, food for the 4 days. Nyege Nyege also invites all artists to stay for the entire festival. So when an artist is booked, they're invited to stay for the 4 days. They're fed for the 4 days. They're housed for the 4 days, because it's very important for us, for the artistic community, to also experience and celebrate together with all the other musicians.
Awesome. Now, you said only artists that have been booked.
Yeah.
Now, what if I'm not booked and I want to come and perform at the Nyege Nyege Festival? What do I have to do?
You have to apply early in time, because we get over 950 requests just this year of artists wanting to perform there. So apply very well ahead in time. Share us your links so we can review the music. Nyege Nyege celebrates artistic innovation. So we're looking for artists that are pushing the boundaries of their musical genre.
Can you name a few artists that will be headlining the Nyege Nyege Festival?
Locally?
Locally, I'm interested in the local artists.
So locally, we have the Aguara Global Troupe. So that is 30 Aguara trumpeters who will be performing all together at the same time. It's going to be one of the largest Aguara trumpet ensembles put together in the last few years. The Cranes are reuniting for the first time in 35 years to perform at the festival. And if you know the legendary Cranes, but it's the original band that then morphed into a Frigo band. So that's going to be a very exciting moment for us. And in general, we aim not to go for the already celebrated stars here in the country.
I understand that, because you want to grow talent.
We want to grow talent, and there's an immense amount of musical diversity. So we have a lot of music from Gulu and Acholi music, and we bring Kadodi troops
from Mbale.
From Mbale.
My area.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, they're going to be there again this year. We had them last year as well. We have a lot of traditional musicians and a lot of traditional troops from across the country, and then obviously a lot of the young electronic producers that are emerging, and DJs like DJ Campire and countless of others.
Wow, sounds really exhilarating. Malawi shouldn't miss this for the world. I'm telling you, we should get ready. Kadodi is going to be there. I personally am from the East. I'm not missing the Nyege Nyege. It'll be my first time to be there.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, go have fun on my behalf.
Now, speaking of the 4 days, fun-filled 4 days, what should your fans expect?
So yeah, every day every year this festival grows. This year we've expanded the site again. There's 2 brand new stages. The decoration is a very big aspect of the festival. So we've got an amazing decoration crew that have been on site already for a few weeks, building structures and eye candy that will delight at night with LEDs and lights. And the idea is to make a phantasmagorical fairyland. For these 4 days.
You know, you speak of it as something very spectacular in terms of how it looks and all that, and I think it's critical, especially once you need to appeal to the optics of the people attending.
I like that.
What does it mean for you as an organizer financially? What does it take for you to put up this festival every single year?
Yeah, it's festivals globally are very expensive things to put on. Partly because you're doing a lot of site building that is disassembled. It's you're building essentially a film set for 4 days that is then torn down. So yeah, it requires having some very strong sponsors behind you. It requires having a very strong committed team who are willing to work long hours, and it requires experience, which we've been building year on year, and it somehow gets easier every year.
Have you broken even?
No, the festival has not broken even yet.
Not yet.
No,
okay.
And it's usual for festivals to take about 4 to 8 years to break even.
Okay.
Okay, now, Mr. Alain, let me take you back in history, like maybe 10, 11 years. In 2010, there was an incident, 9 years ago. That's 9 years ago, right? There was an incident, the 2010 Kampala twin bombings.
Yeah.
People were watching a football match, and terrorists planted a bomb and killed almost 100 people. What is the security situation like at the Nyege Nyege festival? Yes.
So we've been in talks and in preparations for the past 7 months now. With police authorities and counter-terrorism. Anyone who came to the festival last year had probably witnessed already the massive increase in security measurements that have been taken from previous years as the festival has grown, and this year again the same. There's a very comprehensive security plan that has been put in place.
Yes, because 8,000 people in one place. Yes.
And of course the government has also realized that this is now a key event in the annual tourist calendar. It's probably attracting more tourists than any other single event in the country, so they've taken a keen interest to make sure that that people are safe, because obviously it's a big part of the public image of the country.
But I hope you understand where I'm coming from with this question, because the funds are concerned about the security situation. We are fighting Al-Shabaab in Somalia, and the Nyege Nyege festival could be a target. And
I think when you have any major tourist an event that attracts a lot of foreigners,
they could be a target.
Yeah, it becomes a target.
Yeah,
and that's the reason why we've taken extra precautions.
Awesome.
And there's been about 6 months of preparations already.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on. What are your last remarks? I think you have the direct ticket to speak to your viewers and to your potential attendees of the 2019 Nyege Nyege Festival. Camera 3 is yours.
Yeah, I think for everyone who's been before, they know what to expect. They're just going to be bigger and better. And for people who've never come before, expect a transformational experience.
Okay, transformational.
Well, we've been speaking to Mr. Alain Dilsizian, the leader of the Nyege Nyege Festival. Let's now take a very short break. We'll be right back with more exhilarating information. Stay with us.
You're watching Morning at NTV. 333. What's up with number 3? It's 3 at Airtel and not 4 anymore. It's 3 shillings per second across all networks in Uganda.
Make calls from Airtel to all networks at 3 shillings per second. Get to talk to anyone or